welcome Jeanie Ryce.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. Was that Chapter 3 out of the Course in Miracles book?
Way of Mastery.
Way of Mastery. Okay, awesome. And congratulations. Today marks 2 years that you've been doing the second hour of the radio show.
For those who are into anniversaries. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, onward and upward. We'll be back again tomorrow.
Awesome. All right.
Have
See
a
you
great
then. And
show.
thank you for doing the worksheet. That was powerful.
All right. Take care.
You too. So thank you, everybody, for being with us and for joining us for the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Thursday, March the 4th, 2021. And our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And press 1, and that puts you into queue to talk to us. And Michael, I just, Dr. Tim's already hung up, but I just told him congratulations. Today marks 2 years that he has been doing the second hour of the radio show. Time flies.
Yay. Yes, many blessings for that support. So many people benefit. It's awesome. And we be rock and roll with forgiveness, which is our blessing and our opportunity to undo. I was talking to someone this morning who was part of the Codependence to Independence Communication Practice Intensive. And as someone who's been doing this work now for about 40 years, right from the very beginning. Actually, a little bit more than that, because I met him in Atlanta just maybe 2 years. So he's probably 43 years. Anyway, he was saying that last night's class, in particular, the week before, really busted some stuff open for him. But last night's class, what he realized was just how good he was at hiding from himself, and how diligent he needed to be in really taking care. We talked about that statement from the ancient scriptures to take care of the heart or the unconscious, for out of it are the issues in life. And so he was quite taken aback by realizing how proficient he'd become at dissociating from things, at hiding things, new level of awareness and opening. So it's always wonderful to watch somebody who picks up on the tools and takes them to the next level. And last time we had several people talking about their openings, their seeing where denial had taken over their minds. And I love what David Bohm says, is the mind is unlimited in its capacity to deceive. So here we are looking to undo the deception, which is why our conversation so often centers on blockage of truth. That when people live in a world where there's something inside of themselves they don't want to look at, and they literally, because they don't want to look at it, they get to use that data to produce the perceptual constructs, and it just keeps them in this cycle of deception. And so we're here to support the undoing of the cycles of deception we use to hide from ourselves, to find somebody else to blame, and in undoing that blame, get out of those cycles of deception. And as long as one is in a cycle, one's trapped in recreating. We talk about the human mind, or the body's mind, as being the replicate mind. All it can do is replicate what's in it. And what we're looking to do with these tools is to go beyond the replicate mind and step into original creation. And so that's the focal point of this work, in recognizing that our true nature is that of creators. And as creators, we literally resonate through that law of resonance, bring about the things that happen in our lives. We say, well, but I'm an innocent victim. There are no innocent victims. They're only volunteers. All you need to do to have a whole parade of people coming and doing the same thing to you over and over and over again is have that one thing that you stay in denial of and that you refuse to own. And as you do that, having hidden that in your heart or your unconscious, that's why they said take care of the unconscious, for out of it are the issues of life. each time we hide something from ourselves, how do we hide it? We hide it by stuffing it down. If I stuff it down, what do? I put more energy into it. If I put more energy into it, what happens? I send out a still stronger energy wave, literal, measurable high energy wave, that resonates or draws somebody in to play that behavior out with me. And then, as I do that, because I've dissociated from that part of my mind and I cannot look at it directly, that hidden part of my mind, due to the behavior that I've drawn to myself, is triggered into activity, but it's still unconscious activity. And that unconscious activity produces my perceptual constructs. And my perceptual construct, of course, shows me that somebody else is the problem in my life. And that's our understanding, that's our focus in getting to the point of realizing just how this unconscious mind works. And as we step into the chapter once again on the evidential mind, we're heading into page 41 in the text. We had just finished explaining to Richard that biases cause the mind, or eliminate the mind's ability to provide accurate information about what's truly going on in our world. And so heading into page 42, if you've got the book. If you don't have the book, you can go to our website, whyagain.org, and download a free copy. And so we're just heading into the top of page 42, where the key thought is, my mind can only show me my reality. It may or may not match actuality, but it always matches what's going on inside of me. In other words, the perceptual constructs my mind show me always tell me more about the content of my mind than the world that I think I'm looking at. So I've gone to say to Richard, I explained that my conclusion from these ideas and my observation of human behavior is that the mind only permits into awareness information that supports its goals and prejudices. All other information is hidden. So the content, material can be there, but it will be removed from the mind, or pardon me, it will be removed from awareness. It will be in the mind, but it will be in that unconscious part, the part that I can't access, the part that I very desperately need to change, but it's because it is the cause of my pain, my disorders, my diseases, my uncomfortable situations in my life. But if I can't access it, I can't remove it. So once again, the mind only permits into awareness information that supports its goals and prejudices. All other information is hidden. If we hold an emotionally charged goal of being right, the mind withholds all evidence that we show the truth of the situation, that we have made a mistake. The errors we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves, we blame on others. So that's the projection aspect of when I dissociate from content of my own mind, it's guaranteed I will take that very content and make pictures of other people out of it. It'll show up in my mind as though that information is about other people, and the pain that I have associated with it is caused by those other people, and it's all based in a lie. The errors we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves, we blame on others. Blaming someone else for what goes on in our minds and using our hidden information to build our mind's image of them and the externalization of that internal process is the main block to healing. Once we project, now what does projection generally sound like for the average person? You made me mad. You hurt me. You upset me. You really have a problem. Well, one of my favorite questions is, if they're the one with the problem, why are you the one with the pain? Your mind tells you they're the one with the problem because you've projected your painful content into your brain's image of them, and then you pretended that it was outside of you. You externalized it. So once again, blaming someone else for what goes on in our minds and using our hidden information to build our mind's image of them, and the externalization of that internal process is the main block to healing. Once we project, an attempt to place outside of ourselves what is internal, we cut ourselves off from forgiving what is hidden. And Richard chimes in and says, I know I project because I do experience identical realities repeatedly. I'm grasping that those scenarios are coming from my own mind, but I don't understand how that interrupts healing. How does projection work in relationships? He queried. So our next chapter, we're going to be going into chapter 8, will be about projection and externalization. And we see that Richard is starting to grasp on a deeper and deeper level just exactly what he's been doing to himself. And when we begin to project that, when we begin to understand that if I'm the one with the pain, I'm the one with the problem, then I can give my mind permission to show me the cause of my pain, which I've hidden in my brain's image of others. So the conclusion you come to inevitably, if you realize that that's what you're doing, is that blaming other people is a way to give away your power. Undoing that blame, facing your own mind honestly, and removing what doesn't belong opens the space for the true direct experience of the active presence of love that you are made of. Otherwise, you get these replacement images, and what runs physiology, literally, are energetic patterns based in pain and trauma. Pain and trauma means that I'm ignoring an energy within myself and pretending somebody else is the cause of it. Once I let go of that lie, then I get to access the hidden parts of my own mind, which are the cause of my pain. And when I access, in the presence of love, that which never belonged within me, float off of tissue. The aches and pains start to disappear, because it is energetic patterns based in dissociated content that create our pain in the first place. And the healing process tends to move in stages. So Jeanie shared with us yesterday with this opening experience that she had earlier in the week, how she realized and actually was given the message that she had 5 stages to go through in the process. I mean, she's directly told, you're going to go through 5 layers of this, or 5 levels. So once I realized that, the word that she was given was measures. And each of us goes through those processes either gracefully, and gracefully means I have the brain cells to understand what is happening and to keep moving through my process, or we can go through it with a great deal of kicking and screaming and drama and trauma and blame of everybody else. Probably one of the deepest things to get a hold of is that if I'm in pain and trauma, if my perceptual constructs are backed by pain and trauma, I have a problem. And my problem is that I'm using corrupt data to produce literally the world that I see. When I'm willing to collapse the world that I see that's based in the lie, I get to change the game. And when I begin to change the game, I realize that literally I can stand in my true essence as love, fueling my physiology with love, even though there's something going on in my world that I detest, that I really want to change, that doesn't work for me, the pain isn't caused by the circumstances, short of somebody punching you in the nose, the circumstances out there. The pain is caused by internal content, and it's a giant piece of learning to get past that one. Because the mind is so skillful at lying to us, at deceiving us, at giving us evidence of something that is false. And robbing us, I shouldn't say it robs us, we give away the presence of love that could be fueling our cellular structure when we go into that deceptive state. And so our objective is to offer the tools, the understanding, build the brain cells to recognize what's really going on, how it really works, and then cleaning up the mind, which of course cleans up the body. And then the body, or this body-mind unit, this energy system, becomes a temple for the incarnation of our true nature, which is love. People say, well, but don't I have to wait until everybody in my world is doing things the way I want them to do and doing it right to do that? No, actually, you've got it quite backward. If you're going to sit around insisting everybody has to follow your goals and do things your way, you're going to find you're generating all kinds of trauma and pain and deforming your cellular structure. And the secret is actually the reverse, to cancel your need for all of that. And each time you cancel your need, you move into forgiveness and remove the root of your trauma. It's a pretty amazing piece of learning. And, of course, we're here to learn it on the deepest levels ourselves. As Richard Bach said in one of his books, we teach best that which we most need to learn, and here we are, learning it, relearning it, and relearning it as we teach it. And we're delighted that you're here with a listening ear and that we can support you in the process. And so, Miss Jeanie, anything for you to share before we look at hands up or phone queue? You're muted, sweetie. I can hear you talking, but from the other room.
Okay.
Oh,
I said
there
no, but
you
the
are.
process
The old
still
mute
goes
child.
on.
Oh, tell us, share what's happening.
No, it's just still, still kind of feeling like I'm half in and half out, and took a nap a while ago. Thank you for watching Aria and giving me that opportunity, and just staying with it, willing.
Sweet. Well, I'm certainly here to support you 2,000%, and in deep appreciation of the privilege of doing that.
Thank you.
Any other downloads come? You shared a couple of them with us
not
yesterday?
Yet.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I slept pretty solid last night for the first time in a while. So
Sweet. It's really interesting, isn't it, how directly we are told. I mean, you really get the experience that the Aramaic, of the definition of the Aramaic words, ruka dikudsha, which speak of this feminine elemental force in us that undoes the effects of hers and teaches us the truth. When you get one of those downloads, it's literally word by word. Here, write this down. It's almost like the demand. It's
yeah, and it's sometimes like, I wouldn't use the word measures. So it's like I know someone else is speaking it. It's not coming out of my brain.
Yep. Well, that's for those who are maybe new to the show, that's a gift each and every person is given at the moment of their inception. And that is that there is in Aramaic it was termed ruka dikudsha, that is a term that was translated by the Greeks as the Holy Spirit, but it's not about a disembodied spirit being. Literally, the Aramaic spoke of this feminine elemental force in us that undoes the effects of our errors. And, as Jeannie was saying, when she went into that opening experience, and literally that her body was moving in ways that moved through and released a major trauma that's been going on her neck for a couple of years, just like that. So undoes the effects of our errors, if I'm willing, if I'll stay in that space of openness. And then the other part of the definition is teaches us the truth. And literally, this work has come from that power directing this teaching and showing us what's really going on. And I mean, literally, you will get word for word instructions. And as Jean says, it's not a word I even think of or would use, but there it is. And so when we are willing to invite that power into activity, it's amazing what we get taught. So we're delighted you're here to be part of the conversation. If you're out there in listener land and you're in one of those stations where we can't see you, our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show. And if you're listening and you have a question or a thought, if you push 1, then we'll be having a conversation. So we have anybody out there with a hand up in the phone queue, sweetie, or anybody in the chat room with a thought for us?
Flip back over, and no conversation or questions in the chat room. We do have a hand up. So area code 541, you are on the air. Oh, good.
Well,
Yes?
Hi there, young lady. Is this Julie?
Yeah. Hi. Oh.
Welcome. Hey there.
Yes, I wanted to mention about Jeannie's download, because I am a musician, and so I know what measures are, and yet.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I have had directives like that where it's like it's very definite and clear and not of my mind. It's a different language or something. But so I wanted to say how awesome it is every time she shares the experience, because the language that was used to her also goes through her to someone like me. And so here's my take on it a little bit.
Great.
And I appreciate that. I really do. It's very powerful. When I first heard it yesterday on the show, and then yesterday in our meeting, so I've heard her describe her experience twice now, and each time it deepened, and I'm just now today thinking, isn't it interesting the language that is used, because it's got a far-reaching element to it. So in music, measures are a certain set amount of beats, and they structure the page so that one composer can communicate their ideas to another person who wants to express them also. So that's why there's written music. So then, but 5 measures was really interesting to me, because a lot of times music is structured with phrases that are about 4 measures or 8 measures long. There's a lot of structure and form to music that has evolved over the years. And and so a 5th measure, though, when I'm teaching, I call that a link. I finally realized that that's a link, and I use it in teaching, but I didn't ever associate it with 4th measure to 5th measure. But yes, we do when we're memorizing and mastering a piece. We link one phrase to another in order to, I don't know, just have it keep going where it's going, right? Music flows. So that is an interesting aspect that might be interesting to Jeannie and other people. Another cool thing in music.
I just had goosebumps go all up and down my arms when you explained that.
Oh, me too.
What
I'm
moved
sort
for
of
you,
like,
Jeannie?
now that I'm saying it. Yeah?
Say what?
I was just asking Jeannie what thought was moving for her as that opened.
Two things. One, when you said so that one composer.
Yeah. Breathing with sweetie.
Can understand what another composer says.
And wants to express.
And so it's that I can understand what the source, what God is trying to tell me. So he put it in a measure. And then when you said that it was a link, to link one to the other, so that as I go through the different measures that I'm going to have to go through, that it would link one part of my life to another part. So that was powerful. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I hear how you're touched so deeply there, Jeanie. That's awesome. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
For you musicians, brain cells are not brain cells we have, so that's sweet.
Okay. Well, let me give you one more dose, which came to me before that came to me, and I'm experiencing it too, Jeanie, because I often have feelings of these direct thoughts that come. You know, I want to write them all down all the time. I feel like a book is coming through or something, and I'm, just wait till I pull out all the stops, which I keep in place because it is hard to digest it all at once. And so this measure by measure approach is really cool when you study music, because there are layerings of sounds. There's voices. There's the underneath voice that usually is harmony that supports the melodic voice, which is usually the message. And they're held together by rhythm. They synchronize. So, and then here's where else I was going to tell you one of my first hits yesterday. I bet you that one just got you too. It helps you integrate. Because there's the three main elements of music are melody, harmony, and rhythm. So that's a simple thing to know, keep in mind. So rhythm most often is in 4 beats, which is a multiple of 2. So 2 and 4 are really common. 3 is less common. That would be like a waltz. And then there are 6 beats, which are 2 sets of 3, and there are multiples. And but here's an irregular one, and some composers do this because they have a different message. 5 beats. 5 beats is very interesting to work with and not easy to coordinate. It most comfortably coordinates as a 1, 2, 3, which connects to the 4, 5. And so there's one song you'll probably know of. It's called Take 5. It's an old jazz piece from the 60s, I think, and it was the first jazz piece to ever sell millions and millions and win a gold record and all that sort of thing. And it's a great piece. And that's just one thing. So when you are an original thinker, what you have to say may be seemingly irregular to normal rhythms in our culture. And I think this group of people understands that.
The beat of a different drummer sort of thing.
Yeah. Let me ask you something else then that may make more sense to you. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the night before I went through this, Michael and I watched the old movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. No, I'm talking about the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And near the end of it, when they are trying to communicate with the aliens, he uses these hand signals. And I looked it up because when I was going through this process, I caught myself doing these hand signals. And it's actually a really old, like back in the 1800s, that they taught the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do with these hand signals. And that a different hand represents the different note of the scale. Are you familiar with that?
Esophagy.
Oh, she dropped. Maybe she'll come back on. Let's see.
So
Julie,
it sounds
sorry,
like
you dropped.
this conversation.
Did you? Yeah. Julie, did you hear my question about the hand signals? What was it called, Michael?
Solfege.
Esophagy, I believe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. I just want to know if I'm on. It's so weird that it dropped off right when you started your whole thing that you were responding with.
Oh, yeah. So I caught myself wanting to do those signals, so I looked it up. You know, I mean, we watched it in the movie the night before, and I thought, well, that's just in my brain. But it actually goes along with the scales, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And it's just awesome. I mean, I would catch myself just doing it automatically, and it's like, whoa, what's this mean? So do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah.
And Susan also turned her mic on. She's a musician as well.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Susan. Yeah.
Great.
So did you say you saw something on television or Netflix or that you watched? I missed what that was.
We watched the movie just 2 nights before this opening happened. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh,
and at the end of it, you know, when they're communicating with the aliens, they're doing it with the scales and music. And the alien creature is doing these hand motions. And one of the things is Jeanie, you know, her body did a lot of spontaneous movement in this opening experience. And one of the things she was doing was these spontaneous hand movements that, you know, that she wasn't in control of. It was just, you know, the energy moving through her. It was just the sweetest presence and the sweetest energy in it.
But I looked it up because it's like, what does that have to do with it? You know, why am I doing this? And I looked it up and found out it was back in the 1800s, you know, that they developed this hand signal to go along with the scales.
Well, also, it stands for the universal scale because...
Universal language?
Yeah, and also, so the universal scale just means there's 12 tones in 12-tone music, or in the tempered scale. It's been tempered. It's been measured to sound like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And that's all like frequencies, okay? If you were to, I don't understand it totally, so I won't go into it, but it's interesting. Michael might have a brain for it because of his electronics background. But anyway, but that means that every key on the piano can be do, and then the scale can be measured from there. Okay, and so I can play it here. Here's my piano. Oh, it might not, it doesn't transmit, I think, over the phone. I won't do it. But anyway, so that's really neat. You can transpose. That's a neat thing. So it can reach all different levels. And music to me is like a code. It's an invisible language. It's a sound language directly from God. And I bet Susan would agree with me, but I'm just trying to finish here. And then and go ahead, Susan. And Jeanie or Jeanie.
No, you finish. Go ahead.
Well, that's just what I've felt my whole life. And so that Jeanie was hooked into the sign language, which I don't know how to do, but I know that choir directors and conductors of voices, they use, I don't know if they use the actual symbols, but they will use a thing where they have a flat hand in front of their throat. So the hand is facing palm down to the ground, parallel to the ground. And as the voice moves, yeah, that's in the it moves as the voice moves in the increments, or it's supposed to. Then the hand will move according to how far the distance of the interval is. So you'll do a skip or step, basically, and up and down.
I'm gonna have to listen to this show again because it is definitely resonating. I'm not getting it all, but it's definitely resonating. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome.
It's a movie, not a show, then.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Yeah, it was from back in the 70s. It's a really old movie.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, that uses a lot of fifths. And
because
fifths are the
that's
pure
the music
sound. Fifths
Yeah,
are,
that's the music
that's a five.
that they would play it to talk to
Yes.
the aliens, and then this one guy put the hand signal in with the sound. I mean,
Yes.
it was just
Yeah.
and saying that it's a universal language. And see, I did sign language. I do sign language, but I didn't know these particular signs. And so it's
and
awesome.
the sounds that were used too, I'm sure the composer, which might have been John Williams, they are fifths and fourths. And the fifth is the most pleasing sound to the human ear. It's just the most purest, beautifulest harmony. And that's this one. Five notes apart. And so it starts from the octave, which is 8. Oh, no, it doesn't. It starts from the, but there it is. And that's a fifth. So that's awesome. Number 5 is so significant. I can't tell you. To me, I'm just like trembling. I'm walking around glowing. So I want to hear what Susan has to say. Yeah.
Well, let me throw in before Susan says just that accompanying this whole opening, I had my hands on Jeanie. I was doing energy field work, which you each have been exposed to. And the physiological presence of love was totally, completely palpable and had taken over the space, just beyond comprehension. So, Miss Susan, your thoughts on the conversation as a composer and musician? And by the way, thank you for that cutout picture you did of me. I love it.
I'm glad you like it.
I've been thinking about whether we should put it on the website as the picture at the opening page or not.
I think we should put it on there somewhere.
Well, you look like the uncowardly lion. I mean.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, my hair with COVID has been getting long, but to me, it had almost a little bit of a Native American flair, the way that, you know, it looks kind of like you've got some binding on what could turn into pigtails coming off of my head. So I just thought that was kind of interesting, too. So thank you for that.
Was that from the background of the meeting last night? His hair was kind of waving around.
Oh, that's what happens when you use one of those blue screen type backgrounds. If he moves a certain way, it's like part of him disappears. It's kind of weird.
Or expands. Yeah, it was cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When I worked with children in the schools, we used Zoltan Kodai's hand signals, which are what Julie's talking about. Each note has its own corresponding hand gesture, and the children learned the music so much more quickly because they would sing and make the gesture at the same time. And soul is the fifth one, S-O-L, but I was thinking soul, that's the fifth note. It sounds like soul, and I know that's getting pretty far off the beaten track.
No, Susan, you're actually on to my second question that I was going to ask, because when I was doing research on the hand signals and where they came from, see, I've always learned the song like do, re, mi, and then so, a needle pulling thread, but that's not what it started out to be. It was S-O-L, which is like the sun or God.
Right. That's it. So I don't know what the E.T. characters were doing. I wish I had seen what those gestures looked like. They may or may not be the same, but
the soul is your hand. Like if I was using my right hand, my palm would be facing left with my thumb up. So it's just like a straight out.
Yeah.
You all will have to get that movie and watch it. It's awesome.
It's on Amazon.
Good.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Well, there are actually two, though. Close Encounters of the Third Kind we watched one night, and that's the Steven Spielberg movie from back in the 70s. But then we watched the next night Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is narrated by a medical doctor who gave up his medical practice to go into alien communication. And that's where in the intensive I was talking about the visual picture when things come into coherence and when critical mass is reached. And that's in that Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And both of those are on Amazon. So you might find them interesting to pick up on.
Yeah, that sounds great. And Fifth Dimension, and the universal language is all in all dimensions.
Yeah,
so we are really arriving at truth. You know, I mean, it's almost like 0 point truth, because
in
the
5.
Go ahead.
248. Da 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 da. 3 4 stop. 5 6. You have a stopping point. If you go over it, Julie was talking about a link. It also is a guarantee of more and more energy. The fifth, it keeps it going, and a piece that's written in 5/4 time. It's very, very dancey, alive, energetic, and it's perpetual. You just have to stop it somewhere. But I'm thinking Jeannie's energy was flowing so strongly, and it's amazing. Anyway,
you know what, Susan? It's like there's that the natural accent is usually always on the first beat, and that propels the music forward. It's the pulse. Well, this has 2 pulses. It's a 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. Maybe.
Yep. No, it's very energetic, lively, vital.
It is.
Well, it was energetic and lively and vital because, I mean, there's an old form of touch healing that I did back several decades ago, and one of the things that they aimed for doing was getting sufficient energy to flow through the form, that the form actually went into a sine wave. And in the time frame that this opening was happening with Jeannie, her body for at least an hour of that time was literally moving in a sine wave, like all the way from her head to her feet.
Wow.
The sine wave was going through, and the joy, the presence, the sweetness of the energy was just tasted from having my hands on her head and doing energy field work. I didn't quite get the taste of what she had going on inside, but she shared it with me, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Jeannie, when you came on...
Beautiful. Yeah, go ahead. I just said beautiful. That was beautiful. Go ahead.
When you came on the radio show to say, I'm in a healing crisis, I'm going to put on a show, I had to hand it to you because your voice was different. I could tell that something was really seriously going on. The fact that you pulled together and called yourself to the console and did what you needed to do and organized and press the buttons, that's dedication. I tell you, I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It was definitely an experience, and it's just, I still feel like, like I totally landed, and I told Michael I don't really want to, but it's, like the scripture, or I don't even know if it's scripture, that you could be so heavenly minded that you're not any earthly good, and if I stayed in that state, I wouldn't get a thing done around here. I mean, Michael had to do the meals for Dad, and I mean, I was like out for about 48 hours.
Down
and
for
it was
the count.
perfect. It was wonderful to get to do it.
Yeah, it was
That's
awesome.
Great.
Gosh, I so appreciate you all adding the explanation to this. And like I said, I'm going to have to listen to the show again because I don't know music. The thought actually came to me, and I don't remember when it was, that I would like to learn how to play just just that little part, like the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Jesus uses
there's
the word measures. Take a measure of something, press down. There's something in Scripture about a measure, and I wondered if that was connected too.
Oh,
press down, shaken out,
where he
overflowing.
it's like giving even a good measure for it was in purchasing, but I'll have to look that up too.
Jeanie, what did you get? What were the words that you heard? The measure words again?
That it was actually. Let me look on my phone because I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it. Because, like I said, it's not terminology like I would use. You will expand in 5 measures.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
and then the other messages were just, referring to that, you didn't get it all at once. Like one of the messages was that even the saints had a long pipeline. In other words, a long, I took it to mean that, even those at the highest level still have a long ancestral, generational thing behind them that they have to face as well.
Uh-huh.
And then another message, I was trying to put a cover on the book, and I was told you can't put a cover on the book. You're going to have to read the chapter, and every chapter and every page, and you can't do that all at once. And the book is about you.
Mm.
So I know there's going to be a process.
Yeah, and in Aramaic, the word that's been translated as heaven can also be properly translated as expansion.
Mm.
Well, about a month ago, I got a message, and I don't remember what preceded or followed it, but 3 words: deeply anchored expansiveness.
That's what happens when we move the things out of the way that block the expansiveness, the thought disorders.
Yeah. And then we also, in 5 measures or so, we're operating as the energetic being that we are, entirely, possibly. Who knows?
And it makes sense when you were saying that it was a universal language. That was one thing about sign language, too. If I do the sign for house or the sign for God, it's the same sign whether I'm speaking Spanish or French or English or German or whatever. So sign language is a universal language.
Mm. Wonderful.
I'm pretty sure that's why they used that in the movie, because they wanted to communicate in all ways possible that were the most universal. And the scientists picked up that too, and there it was. And that movie was 50 years ago. I was 18 when I saw it.
Yeah.
So Hollywood, has different messages than all the scary ones that they seem to be obsessed with these days. Okay, I'll erase that thought and cancel that goal.
Sweet. Well, Susan, any other thoughts for you on the music aspect of it? Or I'm enjoying hearing these, building the brain cells that you guys are giving us now.
No, I don't. But I bet Jeanie will be getting little downloads to explain. But I did want to just read, because you talked about with Tippia, you were talking on the radio, on the class last night, you were giving her your 30 years work summary on why we cancel a goal. And I Dr. Tim read this yesterday on his show. To forgive means to choose. This is from The Way of Mastery. To forgive means to choose to release another from the perceptions you have been projecting upon them. I find that so helpful in giving up a goal, because my goal is a projection anyway. And the discussion about giving up goals, I want to listen again to last night, because you gave us a huge amount of information in a short amount of time, and I was thinking, Tibia, you getting this? You getting this? Because the English isn't even your first language. You getting it? And she said she's getting it, and I thought she's way ahead of me. Boy. So.
And could you repeat that phrase from The Way of Mastery again?
Sure. To forgive means to choose to release another from the perceptions you have been projecting upon them.
I would adjust that slightly.
Say, okay.
Go ahead.
Can I read you one more sentence? It is
sure,
therefore
please.
It is therefore an act of forgiving one's self of one's projections. Anyway, what would you change it to?
Okay. Well, that's getting closer to what I was going to offer, because to me, it's not so much forgiving toward them, but it's literally the removal of the content of your own mind that created that projection. So it's removal from our own carbon-based memory of the content that could possibly believe that's true about another person. So in a sense, it doesn't really involve the other person. Yes, the other person showed up as a trigger. Right. Yes, my brain made up a picture that I call them, but it's the removal of the energy in me that makes up this picture I call them that's the lie.
Perfect. So helpful. It has made the forgiveness process. I did my 3 worksheets this morning, and I had this in my mind, and it just made it so much simpler, because I could just say, this is my idea, this is my junk, which you've been saying all along. It's just, it's like we're a circle and we've got gaps. The whole circle hasn't been drawn. The whole outline isn't there. You've got the arc, and then you add a little part of the arc, and pretty soon something closes and you go, bingo, I got it. Yeah.
You mean like helpful. It happens in measures?
It could be. Little measures, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And to recognize that when we do remove that energy from ourselves, the energy that causes our suffering and creates these pictures that make us believe that our suffering is imposed from without, that each time we do that, we're making this space for that presence of love to become fully active there again. Our free will has allowed us to replace the presence of active love with hostility and fear-based thought disorders. And as that's forgiven, it creates the space. If you listen to that passage in the Course, it says, let go all the things you think you want, your trifling treasures put away, and leave a clean and open space within your mind for Christ to come.
Yeah.
For that true mind to be active in us. And that's where, for me, and I had a new level of recognition when I was talking about this last night, just for myself, is that I can move in that space regardless of what's happening in my world. It's not dependent on what's happening in my world. It's dependent on what I'm doing inside of myself. And as I bring that presence forward from within myself, that to me then ties us back into the line in the worksheet that says, when I choose love, it wakes up the love in everyone. That we literally become the space that empowers that possibility on a universal scale that will ultimately literally create the conversion of every mind, and conversion not meaning to a religion, but literally converting every mind, taking it back to its original state, where love is the motivating force. Love is the energy that fuels everything.
Yeah, you really have zeroed in when you say that. That just brings it right home. You could paint a picture of it.
That's how it felt to me last night when that was kind of a download for me last night as I was saying that. It's like, oh, like, you know, I've known it sort of thing, but for myself as I was speaking that, it's like my physiology got that one on a whole other level.
Wow. Well, Jeanie,
so it's definitely.
I just sent you a
Go
pile
ahead,
of.
Susan.
I just sent Jeanie a pile of links to the Kodai hand positions and a new picture about a banquet in heaven, which it seems to have been partaken of. It's my opus for the morning. Just finished it, so I sent it to you.
You know, that reminds me that, and Jeanie, it might be time for us to watch Mr. Holland's Opus again. That, to me, is such a powerful film.
Oh, that's
a beautiful
about
one.
the presence of love, yeah.
May I say one more thing real
Go
quick
for it, please.
everyone? I'm going to give you a quick little singing lesson, okay? Jeanie, you don't have to go learn an instrument. Nobody has to go learn an instrument. You use the instrument you are. And just the first 5 tones of the scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol. Now, you'll have to learn how to tune your voice so that you get those pure sounds and cancel those thoughts that make you think that you don't think you can do it, okay? So here's some clues. Do, re, mi is Mary had a little lamb backwards. So if you can sing Mary had a little lamb, Mary, it's that part. La, la, you skip the middle note. Mary had a little lamb is, so if I sang it in solfege, it would be mi, re, do, re, mi, 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 mi. Aria would love that. Me, 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 me. Okay. And then it goes,
she's standing here. I've got it on speaker. Go ahead and sing it to her.
Okay. Yeah, so Mary had a little lamb. Mi, re, do, re, mi, mi, mi. All right? Re, re, re. And then mi, sol, sol. You skip. Okay? So now here's another thing to do. Practice. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, and then sol, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Try to get that coordinated in yourself. I know there's time running out. I know I'm looking at the clock. I could continue tomorrow. Okay.
Okay,
so
let's continue it tomorrow. That'd be awesome.
All right. Do that much
Thank
tonight.
you all.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Appreciation. Blessings, everybody.
Thank you all.
Create the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world, and that's what the world needs right now. Let's hold the space